There's been a lot in the news recently about how hard it is to leave the Hasidic community in Brooklyn. We saw the recent suicide of a girl who wasn't accepted by her family after she left, as well as the problems that girls are having getting education in the Hasidic community. Well, now there is a woman who is inspiring hope in those who would like a different life outside of the Hasidic community. Now, I went to meet Abby Stein. Up until several months ago, most people knew her as Surly Stein, a young man and father who is a descendant of a royal rabbinic heritage.
I joke a lot that I feel like I'm going to be the first ultra-orthodox ordained female rabbi.
Now, I met her at an Upper West Side apartment where she was learning to do her makeup for the first time.
I put it close to the eye. You can play around, see what looks best.
The reason why now I'm finally transitioning is because I reached a point where I couldn't anymore. I tried everything else, and I had to do that.
You couldn't anymore what?
I couldn't live anymore pretending to be a guy.
Although right now this may not be the best example, but
3 months ago, Abby started taking hormonal therapy to transition her to a female, the gender she identifies with.
Something interesting about estrogen. So for a long time, it was just a pill. It's very bad for the kidneys. So it is thought, that's why people would prefer injections. Now this one is a sublingual. It dissolves in the mouth.
Now, I asked her a question I found striking, that if she had been raised the gender she identifies with, which is female, she wouldn't have received the education that she did, allowing her to know 5 languages as well as now go to Columbia.
So definitely in my community as a woman, I wouldn't have gotten such a good Jewish education. However, I wouldn't have gotten a way better secular education.
Now, although her friends at Columbia have accepted her for who she is and who she identifies with, which is Abby Stein, her family has completely shunned her.
The only thing that I have from them is getting hate emails.
They send you hate emails?
I'm getting quite a few hate emails, but not that many. I was expecting more, but I'm getting quite a few hate emails.
Tamara, who used the term gender dysphoria?
She
Abby?
did. She read
because
a lot.
Gender dysphoria is a form of mental illness. It's a mental disorder. And I guess part of I'm hearing this story and I'm thinking 2 things. One, I feel like the whole story is just throwing the Hasidic Jewish community under the bus as they're anti-woman, they're this. And I think it ignores the thousands of years of history with Hasidic Jews steeped in tradition. And I've said this before, we've talked about transgender issues before, that there's this rush to celebrate becoming who you are and completely ignoring the fact that we have a serious problem of mental disorder in this country that doesn't seem to be addressed.
So often we've seen in these news stories that have come out, and what we hear about the community is that it is closed off and it doesn't give those options for women to become who they are or for people to explore other options in life other than becoming a rabbi, which she would have had to do had she have stayed in this community.
Well, the sad thing to me is there's too little being done and talked about with things like gender dysphoria, which leads to other disorders, and I think that's a sad part it's not often discussed.
I think that, you know, if you want to follow more of her, she's doing a blog and you can see all of her experiences as she transitions.